What's up guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video. Today we're going from Los Angeles down to Newport, California. It's about an hour drive south down the 605 south. See how Autopilot does in today's morning commute down to Newport, California. Let's get into the video. Alright, so it's a super bright day, of course, typical California. 62 degrees Fahrenheit. Pretty light traffic so far. As you can tell from probably the camera, it's shaking a lot. Gonna take us another 42 minutes. I've actually started driving already, but it's 32 more miles, 42 more minutes, and we should arrive by 10:25 a.m. It's doing pretty okay so far. We're going 52 miles an hour. There's a truck to our right, and it's just pretty bumpy, that's all. There hasn't been any auto changes or auto lane changes that it's requesting, so we're just staying in this lane. Even though the left lane is definitely going faster, it hasn't really asked us to go to the left at all. So this is the newest update. It's version 10.2, 2020.4.1, and today is February 2020, so it's February 2020, so this is the newest update as of right now. We're getting into the it's just super bumpy here. We're running into a little bit of traffic. The Autopilot visualization screen is noticing that the left lanes are starting to slow down a little bit. Hope you guys can see, because it's definitely really bright here. We're behind this truck carrying a forklift. Autopilot's still staying in this lane. It hasn't requested for us to go into any of the other lanes, so we're just gonna stick into this lane for a little bit. I'm gonna try and hold the camera as much as I can to prevent some of these shakes, and then I'm gonna add a warp stabilizer on the footage as well. I noticed in one of the other videos, it's a little shorter, but warp stabilizer in Premiere takes a long time, of course, if it's a long clip. But if it's a short clip, it's pretty decently in terms of being able to stabilize the footage. Another project that I'm going to work on this weekend possibly is I have these ABS plastic pieces that I've had on here. It is a two-piece, unfortunately, but I've had it laying on my wood trim for a bit now. I'm going to try and purchase some Alcantara fabric from the fabric store, and I'm going to try and wrap it myself, see if I can make it look a little bit better, or to match kind of the side door panels. Okay, so Autopilot is pretty conservative today. It's just hanging out behind this truck. The right lane is definitely going faster, but I guess it's never really asked to go into the right lane. It only asks to go in the left lane when it's faster, because it's probably following the road rules of you can't pass on the right, only passing on the left. The truck is going out of our lane now, increasing speed to 30 miles an hour. I have noticed a lot more shadow braking in the recent update, and a lot more hesitation, or I was driving under a bridge and I think it freaked out because of the shadow of the bridge and braked pretty heavily because of that. But overall, the Autopilot update has been smoother, but it's just been glitching out randomly for certain elements. The road conditions here, as one of my viewers pointed out, does kind of suck. And so is it really Autopilot glitching out, or is it just Autopilot just reacting to the terrible road conditions in Los Angeles and following whatever its directive, it's programmed to do? Because as you can see, it's super bright right now, and you can barely see some of these lane markers as a human, so you can only imagine how hard it is for the cameras to pick it up or the software to recognize it. Okay, so let's go ahead and trigger the auto lane change into the left. A Toyota just cut us off at the same time, or came into our lane, but Autopilot didn't freak out. So now we're in the left lane. As you can see, the cruise control speed is set at 65, but we have this huge gap in front of us between us and the Mercedes up there, and it's not necessarily closing the gap quick, whereas a human driver might increase speed to close the gap quickly, but then you would obviously brake at this point because it would slow back down to traffic because of traffic. Heavy braking there. Down to 16 miles an hour. Now the autopilot is just pumping the brakes a little bit. Okay, some more heavy braking from autopilot. The truck came into our lane in front of the Mercedes, and that caused everybody to brake. So we're entering our first semi-construction zone with the concrete barriers. Anytime I see the concrete barriers, I consider it a construction zone now, because I've seen too many videos where autopilot just completely freaks out with those barriers. We're on a cruise control setting at 65. We're still going 36 miles an hour, even though there's a huge gap in front of us with the Mercedes. I guess maybe it's detecting that these cars to the right and left of us are going at a certain speed and doesn't want to increase at all. Autopilot's playing pretty conservative right now, not closing that gap at all. Now we're increasing to 52 miles an hour, closing the gap slightly. If you can see on the cameras, there's some of these lines that are going to the left diagonally. So I bet autopilot is thinking that those are the lanes instead of the real lanes that are going to the right. So we're at 65 miles an hour, pretty clear right now. So pretty open, coasting at 65 miles an hour. There's no traffic coming up, so it's pretty clear. There is cars to the left of us and to the right of us, so if we were to auto lane change, it would probably hesitate a little bit. But auto lane change has definitely been more aggressive these days, and it darts immediately right when you trigger it if it sees an open lane. So it looks like there's a little bit of traffic coming up. We're also going to be entering the second construction area that I typically run into off of the I-5 South. Pretty bright out today, so I can almost bet that autopilot is going to freak out or glitch out. We're going to have to be pretty aware of that area when we drive through it to make sure we don't run into any other cars. Okay, so this is it. This is the second construction area. Goes to the left a little bit, and while the lines go to the right. There's a line right there that goes to the right, as you can see. Doing pretty good so far. Staying in the lane, staying in the middle of the lane, which is good. Okay, a little bit hanging to the left of the lane there. It tried to kind of go to the left, and then it didn't. Okay, there we are. A little bit of... Okay, so autopilot just threw itself out. It basically went to the left, got out of the lane, and then diverted quickly to the right. Almost kind of wanted to go all the way into the right lane, but then I held the steering wheel to keep it in the lane, and then autopilot threw itself out. Almost always going to throw off autopilot unless you're in like a cloudy day where it's really dark out, where it can see the line markers a lot more clear. Alright, so it's pretty open here. We're going to increase speed to 75 miles an hour. Okay, so there's some traffic coming up ahead. We're going 75 miles an hour. It looks to be a dead stop traffic, so we'll see how autopilot still going 75 miles an hour, still hasn't recognized it. As a human, we've already recognized it. Slowing down, 60 miles an hour. 53, 50, some braking, 37. Okay, so pretty smooth actually. It's a little scary how autopilot lets off the speed that late, but it certainly comes down to a stop pretty smoothly after. Because as a driver, or as a human driver, trying to time it for braking regenerative braking, I would have let go a lot earlier and then just increase speed slowly instead of using the brakes, as it most likely did. So we're going 22 miles an hour, not too much heavy traffic, kind of still going at a slow speed. There's a truck in front of us, cars to the left, cars to the right. Autopilot has done pretty good today, not too many glitches besides the construction areas. But if you were to rate this based on non-construction zones, because you're not supposed to use autopilot in construction zones anyway, it's done pretty fine. Alright, so that should be it. We're pretty much out of traffic. It's going to be smooth sailing from here. Thanks for watching another video, guys. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button and subscribe for more Tesla content. And I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya!